Alright guys, we don't have a live stream tonight, so I thought I'd do a quick little recap of the deck that I tried at the OP Cup. Tell you right now, I went 2-4 with it. I was only really blown out of one game, and I think that was Zach. He beat me pretty handily. Everything else was pretty close. I enjoyed it. I had fun playing the deck. It didn't go quite as I had planned, but here it is. I got Mr. Fantastic, Henry Pym, the X-Babies on the front line, and Silver Sable in reserve. 17, 34, and 15, 49, and 20, 67 points. I think I wrote down that was 68 because I was thinking Sable was 19 points, but she's only 18. So there's a lot of gimmicky cards in the deck. Most of the time I didn't get them when I needed them. But here's a breakdown of what I played. I went with 3 events. No cards with the word teammate may be played to get rid of all the teamworks that were going to be thrown at me for one hand. And no energy power cards may be played this battle. Affected power cards are not discarded. This one only came up a couple times where it actually meant anything. Once against Miles, he was able to bluff with 2 of them in his hand, but he still had card advantage on me, and I ended up conceding that battle. And then I have Hideout Discovered. Discard all placed teamwork cards. No teamwork cards may be played this battle. This one was pretty big. I don't run a lot of teamworks in this deck. I'm only running 3. And I think twice I did have to discard one of my teamworks, but it helped me more than it hindered me. Although I think against Miles, none of those events helped me. Miles, after 2 or 3 hands, was losing to me, and then he drew his event. No activators maybe played this battle. Bet 5 on me, and then the next hand I discarded 3 duplicates, and he went 3 for the win. So it wasn't very pleasant after he drew that event. I am running the crossing mission, but I'm not running the KO event, which I think some people were expecting me to do that once they saw the X-Babies on the team, I guess. I don't know. Still using the Age of Apocalypse battle site. I don't know that I'll ever give that one up. I just like it. So for Mr. Fantastic, I was running just 4 specials: Python Hold, Elasticity, Fantastic Mind, and Inventive Genius. Python Hold is target opponent may not attack for remainder of battle. Elasticity. When I defend a power card attack and play that card, the power card goes back into Mr. Fantastic's hand. Has to be a power card Mr. Fantastic can play, and the attack has to be on Mr. Fantastic. Just clearing that up for some people. I think if I played again, I'll add another Fantastic Mind, just add a little more kick to the deck. The Draw 3, of course everyone knows what that one is. Henry Pym was the whole reason I wanted to put the deck together. I'm dying to play Henry Pym in a good deck. It hasn't happened yet, but we'll see. Ultron 1, which is a 1 multi, and Henry Pym may play 1 additional special, which a lot of times was Yellow Jacket, which is a 4 fighting attack, may make 1 additional attack, which I would follow that one up when I got the chain off with either Founding Avenger, which is a 5, Intellect may not be defended with a special card, or Mass Reduction, which was the card that I was trying to make playable. Mass Reduction is opponent must discard 1 card for equal to the number of mission cards opponent ventured this battle. Cards may be placed or in hand. It is opponent, so it can only be negated. It's not attacking any of the frontline characters. You're going after the opponent. So it's kind of like the Draw 3. The Draw 3 can only be negated. X-Babies, I was running really heavy on specials because they're so good. I've got 3 negates, because you got to have 3, right? 2 little Colossus, 6 -4 to venture. 2 little Phoenix, which is a 7 to maybe use to attack or defend. If somebody decides to get fancy and throw a teamwork on the X-Babies, I could defend them with that. Or a lot of times I was thrown for venture points. 1 little Iceman. Little Iceman. If you're holding it when your opponent goes for the lockout, it's a great card. Otherwise, it's usually not so good. And then, of course, Little Rogue, which locks down the battle site. Opponent may not attack or defend with cards from battle site for remainder of battle. Now, against Onslaught Citadel, they still have a lot of ways to use their battle site. They can KO a character. They can play the post activator, may not be affected by events. They can use the Master Mold card offensively. So they still have a lot of cards to use, but that card got negated every time I played it. So technically, my goal was to have a morph on my Team Overpower, have Little Rogue, Mass Reduction, and or Inventive Genius placed. So at this point, I'm going to throw Little Rogue, try and pull their negate. If they can't negate it, they can't use that battle site, then I'm going to Power Mimic, depending on how many missions they ventured, either Mass Reduction or the Draw 3. I think Mass Reduction and Inventive Genius got negated every time I played them. I was using the A next any home base, 3 specials, teammate may avoid for Silver Sable, and 1 of her teamworks that she can play from reserve. I then had the 7 and 8 Intellect teamworks, which usually ended up on Henry Pym with the 7 and Mr. Fantastic on the 8. The biggest problem I think I had with the deck was I had trouble keeping up with card placement. A lot of times my opponent would concede when I was holding either the Draw 3 or the Mass Reduction because I couldn't place them because I had something there already. Still haven't figured that part out yet, exactly how I'm going to address that in the future. The Little Rogue, actually kind of like playing that out of the hand because most people forget about that card. It's never been a playable card until now. I did have to discard it a couple of times when I was playing any hero decks. The events, Hideout discovered no cards with the word teammate. A lot of times helped me lock up a lot of their cards. Hideout discovered I'm only running 3 cards with the word teammate. I have a total of 6 in the deck. 3 teamworks and 3 Silver Sables. So most of the time I was doing good with those. And then of course, no energy power cards was to go against those big energy decks. Try and lock out their power cards. But I'm waiting for Phil Keffer to come on to this posting and tell me what the deck is missing. It was fun. It's great playing characters that people don't normally play, being Henry Pym, because Mr. Fantastic is starting to see a little more play because of his Draw 3. Silver Sable is in there a lot. I was actually thinking about maybe switching out Silver Sable for Doctor Strange. Back up my 8 on Mr. Fantastic. But my whole goal is to block everything on Mr. Fantastic or Henry Pym and not take any hits on either one of them as much as possible and get to the point where I can play Mass Reduction. Mass Reduction is a better card than the Draw 3 because it's always better to make your opponent discard 2 cards than to draw 3 maybes. I would, in my opinion, Phil Keffer, Marcel, they may disagree and they'd rather draw the 3, but with the Mass Reduction, I'm seeing my opponent discard cards. A lot of times, though, I was getting Mass Reduction when one of my events were in play, and they were just discarding cards that they couldn't play that hand, which didn't help me a whole lot. If I survived that hand, it would help the next hand, but as you can tell by my record, 2 and 4, I didn't survive to the next round a whole lot. a lot of fun. I'm not going to give up on the deck. I'm hoping I can figure out something, maybe get some pointers from you guys. What would you do? I'm not going to change the battle sight because of Power Mimic. I want to Power Mimic one of those 3 1 per decks, specifically these 2 1 per decks. I also like Power Mimicking my opponent's place, draw 3, when that happens. Or they're a pretty boy when they try to lock me out. So it's got a lot of little gimmicks. It doesn't pack the big punch, which Henry Pym, 4 fighting, a 1 multi, a 5 intellect. The 5 intellect really needs to be more. If he had a 7, there's a lot of fighting, a lot of intellect on this deck. I was having a little bit of trouble KOing characters, but I probably shouldn't be going after the KO and just go for Venture on this deck. The X-Babies have the 7, the 6 is successful, +4 to Venture, a 7 for Mr. Fantastic, and then of course the card advantage if I can get it on the draw 3 or the mass reduction. So leave me a message. Let me know what you think. How could I improve it? What needs to come off? What needs to go in? Don't tell me to take Henry Pym off because I'm probably not going to do it.